Good morning and welcome back to Public Affairs on Peach. Today we are talking about smoking, the dangers of it, and how to quit every day. 1,000 young people in the U.S. take up smoking, and the Food and Drug Administration, they want to stop it.
These are the ads the government doesn't want kids to see, pitching tobacco products they're too young to buy legally. Mike Butcher started smoking when he was 17.
I didn't get carded, I didn't get ID'd. It was easy to buy cigarettes, yeah.
So the FDA has rules designed to stop children from ever trying cigarettes.
The historic rule we're issuing today will help our kids stay healthy by making it harder for tobacco companies to target them.
The rules prohibit the sale of cigarettes and smokeless tobacco products to anyone under 18. The sale of packs with fewer than 20 cigarette sales in vending machines and free samples. The FDA says the way cigarettes are marketed are also a problem.
I think advertising had a significant effect on people starting to smoke when they're young because they were so vulnerable to that type of stuff.
A study published in the journal Pediatrics shows the Camel No. 9 ad campaign dramatically increased brand awareness among teenage girls. So the FDA has rules to stop tobacco companies from sponsoring sports or entertainment events, offering giveaways with the purchase of tobacco products, and selling hats and T-shirts with cigarette logos. The tobacco companies say they are already working to prevent youth from using tobacco.
Our next guest picked up a cigarette as a teenager, and like many teenage girls, she turned to nicotine to lose weight after nearly 40 years of smoking. Tina Long was diagnosed with laryngeal cancer and had surgery to remove her larynx. Tina is with us this morning. Tina, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And listen, I think if there's anybody out there who is maybe contemplating smoking or contemplating quit smoking, they should listen to your story.
Oh, absolutely.
And you hope so. You were how old when you picked up your first cigarette?
16.
16 years old.
Yes.
And it got to the point, it started out as how many a day and got to what point?
Oh, it was probably maybe 5 a day, and then it went up. And then when I went to college, you know, I could smoke more because my parents were around, so then that probably added a pack a day. And then by the time I quit, I was smoking 3 packs a day.
3 packs a day?
Yes.
How hard is it to quit?
Oh, it was extremely difficult, and I tried and tried before I had this problem, before cancer. And I tried to quit, and finally my kids would say, please start smoking again, because I'd be so grouchy and cranky.
You know, if you had any advice to somebody who is out there watching, learning and living through your experiences, because you said you tried to quit several times.
Right.
What works and what didn't for you?
Well, mainly, you have to be in the mindset to quit. You want to have to quit. But what made me quit was cancer. I smoked on my way to the hospital, and after I had my surgery, and since I have a permanent trach, I just knew I couldn't smoke anymore, and that's when I quit, after my surgery.
You know, I think a lot of people, they don't equate cigarette and nicotine smoke to other drugs. You know, they don't equate it as the same thing, you know, as alcoholism, as somebody who's addicted to methamphetamine, as somebody who's addicted to marijuana. People say, it's just smoking. People in drug recovery and you know, people who are alcoholics and recovering alcoholics say, hey, listen, it could be a whole lot worse, okay? So let me just have my cigarette. But seeing somebody like you, your rock bottom was somebody telling you you had cancer.
Exactly, and that I was going to lose my vocal cords, and so that hit home.
You know, what do you tell people who kind of have that mindset? Listen, there's a lot of other vices out there that I could be doing. Smoking cigarettes isn't the worst of them.
Yeah, no, cigarette is the worst, I think, and it's the hardest to quit. You know, because it's psychological, it's physical, and it's a social, social habit also.
You know, I was out there, you know, when I was drinking, going to the bars and going to the clubs, I would be what they call a social smoker, right? I thought I had it under control. I'd smoke 1, 2, 3, 4, and it'd get up to 5 or 6 a day. Fortunately for me, it never got up to a pack a day. But my first cigarette, I was, I believe, 11 or 12 years old, junior high school. I'd go out to the local donut shop, buy a pack of Marlboro Reds, sit there and cough our lung up as a kid out in the baseball field. But we still did it. And, you know, the laws are becoming more strict now, so 11 and 12-year-old can't go to a grocery store and get a cigarette, right? But they still target teenagers, and they still target kids in high school and college.
Yes.
Isn't that disturbing to you to see what they're doing out there?
Oh, absolutely. They really go after the younger group, because my age group, they're finished with us.
They've got you already.
And they make it look cool. They make it sound like it'll help you calm down. It just, they give all kinds of excuses to smoke.
What do you think it'll take to get a kid out there who's maybe in junior high school or high school to quit smoking or to not even pick up? What needs to be done now that wasn't done when you were a kid? What do they need to do? How do you get through to kids?
Well, I speak to school groups, and when they hear my voice, and they
Done. It's bingo.
pretty
They see
much,
it.
and they realize that, like I like to tell them after they removed my larynx, and I couldn't talk very clearly at first. My son had just gone off to college, and he tried to call before cell phones collect, and I couldn't accept the call because the automation didn't recognize my voice. So that was a real eye-opener then and there.
Do you think there is hope for, I mean, what would you like to see happen? I mean, there are some people out there who say cigarettes should just be banned altogether because it leads to death. I mean, it's just a fact. If you smoke, the chances of you dying are greater than if you didn't.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it would be great if they did outlaw cigarettes, but I don't know how that would go over. People would end up spending more money on cigarettes than they would their own food or necessities.
You know, the interesting part about your story is, did you really start smoking to lose weight?
Yes.
You thought picking up a cigarette would help you lose weight?
Yes. And
Did it?
no, I just would smoke after I eat. You know, that cigarette after you ate was wonderful.
That was the hardest part for me to eventually quit too, because you always want a cigarette right after you had a really good meal. You kind of equate the two.
Right.
And then, you know, and I tell people this all the time. I said, when I quit smoking was when I ended up started to do kickboxing, and I couldn't last more than 90 seconds without being in the corner of a ring and starting to hack up a lung.
Right.
And then finally I said, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
And I quit cold turkey.
Wow.
But, you know, there's been a lot of debate and a lot of discussion about how cigarettes are marketed, how they're sold. And do you believe that we should be putting pictures of lungs, of the damage that cigarettes do to people, the physical, you know, looking at the pictures themselves? Should those pictures be, in your mind, on cigarette boxes?
Absolutely. And also showing what oral tobacco can also do, because a lot of kids still do the oral tobacco, spit tobacco.
Yeah, they chew.
Right.
And it still causes cancer.
Absolutely. And you can lose a cheek, or, you know, if you have cancer, they remove it.
How is life for you today living with this?
It's more difficult. I have to be careful even when I shower, you know, because my stoma, which is a permanent tray, goes directly to my lungs. So if I wasn't really watching out for myself, I get drowned in my own shower. And having to put up with having to cover my neck and explaining to people when they hear my voice. But, you know, I'm alive and I'm happy, and so that surely makes up for most of the negative.
And you are doing some good by going out there and hopefully preventing, right, teenagers from picking up cigarettes, because it's not cool.
No, and I hope I am, yes.
Yeah. All right, Tina, thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate you telling your story.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Coming up next, we're going to be taking a look at the efforts local governments are now making to stop the exposure to secondhand smoke and make non-smokers comfortable when heading out to a restaurant or to a bar. Well, that when we come back.